Hello, this is Joanne Musa, the Tax Lien Lady, and this is Ask the Tax Lien Lady live on my business page, my Facebook page. So, welcome everybody. Let me know where you're from when you come on to today's Facebook Live, and so that I can better answer your questions about tax lien and tax deed investing. Um, and I do expect that Nicole will be joining us shortly too, and she can help me answer your questions by putting links into the comments that you guys might want access to. So just, I'm not actually on Facebook. I do this through something called StreamYard. So if you would put in your comments, let me know that you're here, say hello, and let me know where you're from so that I can help better answer your questions about tax lien investing, because tax lien investing is so different in every state. Some states sell tax liens, some sell deeds, and some sell redeemable deeds. But you know what? Even the tax lien sales in different states that sell tax liens are very different in the states that sell them. And that goes along with the deed sales and redeemable deed sales. They are all different in every state, which makes my job a little more difficult. Right now, and hi, Nicole, I'm glad you're here. Right now, I'm actually finishing up a course on the Arizona tax lien sales that are going on right now. It is a done with you course. And in the past, I've only done that for Arizona. I've only ever done that for Arizona. I did the first one in 2015, and then I updated it in 2017. And I updated it again this year only because there were more counties online than in the past. And because I have a new program that I use now to quickly determine which properties to bid on. It lets me look at the properties, go from one property to the other, look at the properties and get a property report on each property. And it also lets me filter the list very easily. And so I let my students use it. I teach them how to use it. And it really helps getting ready for these tax sales, especially the ones that are online. I've also decided to do, excuse me, got a little frog in my throat. I've also decided to do another Done With You training starting March 1st on the Indiana Commissioner's tax certificate sales. And I like these sales because here's what happens in Indiana. They have their normal tax sales in the fall. And whatever doesn't sell in that tax sale gets certified to the commissioner. And then it gets sold in the commissioner's sale. And they call that a tax certificate sale. And what's different about that tax certificate sale, what's different about that than in the tax lien sale, is that these liens have the starting bid reduced, because Indiana, unlike what happens in Arizona, they bid down the percent interest rate. Well, they don't do that in Indiana. What they do is they bid up the price of the lien. So it starts at the back taxes and then it gets bid up from there. But at the commissioner's sale, they drop that price down. It doesn't start at the back taxes. Each county has a different minimum bid that they accept. And, in some counties, it could be as low. In the past, it's been as low as $50 and in others, $500, okay? So, it just depends on the county. So it's a lot lower than the minimum bid. So not only does the bidding start at a lower number, but the redemption period is shortened. If you buy in the normal tax sale in Indiana, in the tax lien sale, the redemption period is 1 year. Well, in the commissioner's tax certificate sale, it's only 4 months. So you do have more of a chance of getting the property because the redemption period is shortened. But it's a sale that I like. I took a coaching client there, a VIP client there a couple of years ago, and he got 3 liens in that sale. 2 redeemed. One redeemed right away, one redeemed after a while, so he made a decent interest. Actually, he made out pretty good on both of the liens that redeemed, but one of them he actually got to foreclose on. How much did it cost him to foreclose on that property? Well, he got all 3 liens for about $1,500. I mean, $15,000. $15,000 for all 3 liens, okay? Now, the one that he foreclosed on, he wound up spending $6,000 altogether. And that's the original lien was, I think, a couple $1,000s. And then he had to you need to pay an attorney as soon as you get those liens. You want to get an attorney because you have to do noticing in Indiana. At the regular tax lien sale, you have 30 days before you can even start the noticing, okay? With the commissioner's sale, you want to do it right away. And so there's noticing that you have to do, and you need to hire an attorney for that. So it was about $1,200 per lien for him to do that. And then to actually foreclose. And there was more money involved in the foreclosure and any subsequent taxes that he paid. But altogether, he paid about $6,000 to foreclose on this property. And the property is worth, I forget the exact worth of the property. Now, this is Gary, Indiana. We're talking about Lake County. These properties were in Gary. And some of those property values are pretty low. They could be $20,000 or they could be $80,000 and anything in between for your normal, 3-bedroom, 1-bath house in Gary, Indiana. Yeah, there's some at the higher than that, and there's some lower than that. There are some really bad ones. Okay, so you really got to do your due diligence. But the average is probably around 40,000. This one was probably worth a little more than that, and there was somebody already living in it. So they did have to evict who was there. I think it was a renter that was living there, but they did not pay the rent, so they had to evict them. So yes, it was a house, Peter. Thank you for your question. It was a house. We only invested in houses, and sometimes you think it's a house, but it's not. You have to look at these properties before you bid, because sometimes it says it's a house, but you go buy it and the house has been burned down or demolished, or there is a demolish order on it. So you got to know these things ahead of time, right? And hello, Enrique from Los Angeles. Okay, so now what I've just been talking about are the Indiana commissioner's sales. And a couple of years ago, I took somebody to one of those sales and they got some properties. When I say they got some properties, they got 3 liens, and one of them they did get to foreclose on. And this year, I'm going to be doing a Done With You training during these sales. Why am I doing it this year? And this is the first time ever for Indiana. I've only ever done this before for Arizona. But the reason I'm doing it this year for Indiana is I have a new tool that helps me look at those properties online very easily. And because of COVID, because of the COVID shutdown, there are more counties that are having this sale, the commissioner's tax certificate sale, online. In the past, there's only been about 2 or 3 counties that had this sale online, but now there are a lot more. Okay. Hi, Nicole, the other Nicole, not my assistant Nicole, who's also on with us. Where are you from? Let me know where you're from. Because that makes it easier for me to answer your questions. Because as I said when I first started this Facebook Live today, and I say this every time I do a Facebook Live, tax lien and tax deed investing is different in every state. So it helps me if I know where you are, so that when you have a question, it's easier for me to answer it for you. So from Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, so you have redeemable deeds in Atlanta, Georgia, but they do act a lot like liens. And after the redemption period's over, you do have to get an attorney in Georgia to foreclose. Okay, so start asking me your questions, type them in. Nicole, if we've gotten any questions beforehand, if anything was posted on Facebook, let me know. And I just let everybody know about the training that I will be doing for the Indiana Commissioner Sales. I don't even have anything ready yet for you. I will in a little while. I'm working on that today. I will have an email go out to everybody that's on my list with the link to find out more about that. I'm still getting that ready. There's a video that I want to put on that page. And I will also have a blog post about the Indiana tax sales as well. Okay, so no questions yet. And I'll stay on here as long as you guys ask me questions that I can answer. Oh, Nicole wants me to explain the process. Well, here's the thing. In Georgia, Georgia is a redeemable deed sale. So as I was explaining before about Indiana, that the liens, Indiana's a lien sale, so it is different, but the bidding is similar. The bidding starts at the back taxes and penalties in Georgia, but the price gets bid up. You're actually bidding for the property in Georgia because it's a redeemable deed sale. So it might start at the back taxes, but it gets bid up very competitively, especially in the Atlanta area. And then you have to hold that, even though it's considered a deed, you don't really own the property until after the redemption period is over, which in Georgia it's 1 year. And after the year is over, you have to get an attorney to foreclose, to do a judicial foreclosure on the property. It's a lot like a lien. The process in Georgia is a lot like a tax lien sale, even though it is considered a redeemable deed. And in Georgia, it's a 20%, I believe it's a penalty. So it's 20% penalty if the deed redeems, which they will most of the time. Okay. And Nicole has put a link in there that you could sign up for my newsletter. If you're not already on my list and you want to get the information when I send it out later today about the Indiana Commissioner Sale training that I'll be doing, then you can sign up for my newsletter. And Nicole, my assistant Nicole, has put that link in the comments for you. All right, Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Where can I go to learn how to find tax deed sales and do due diligence? Okay, I do have a course for that, Kathy. But let me know what state or states you're interested in, because my course is on the states that have online deed sales. Okay, it's called, actually it's called online deed, what is it called? Online tax deed sales or online sale, yeah, online tax deed sales training. And Nicole, do you have a link to that course? It is, the training is $397 and it covers the deed sales that are online. Yeah, and the other Nicole is asking more about Georgia. Are you required to pay the taxes during the 12 months? In Georgia, I'm not sure if you're required to do that. After the 12 months, you will have to pay them. When you actually go to foreclose on the property, you will have to pay them. I'm not sure if you have to pay them during the redemption period. But I think once you do the foreclosure, then you would have to pay them. Oh, hey, Kathy Ann, you're in Pennsylvania, and guess what? That's where I am. And Pennsylvania is a deed state. It is actually, it was not online until some counties went online this year, but they are different than the ones that the training is. Well, actually, they are, some of them are on bid for assets. But the training didn't really cover PA because at the time I did it, there were no PA tax sales online. But now there are. However, most of them are still live. Most of the PA sales are still live. I don't have something specific for that. But what I would suggest is that you become a member of the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator. I do trainings and coaching. As a matter of fact, our next coaching session, our group coaching session, is tomorrow at 2:00. And then I do group coaching in there for members, and members also get access to tax sale finders. Well, they get access to the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator courses. I've got so many courses in there that are workshops that I've done. Plus, they get access to tax sale finders, and they also get all the wealth building webinars that we do. Now, tax sale finders lets you look at the properties in the sale and lets you find out when these sales are happening, whether they're online or live, how many parcels are in the sale, and you could actually get reports, property reports on the properties that are in the sale, and see them on overhead map with the boundary of the property, so you know if that building is really on that parcel or not, and the street view if it's available, and it gives the assessment information, whether there's a mortgage on it or not. A lot of really good information. Okay, so okay, and Nicole can put the link in there for you to find out more about the membership to the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator. And actually, she just put that in there. She's reading my mind already. And Nicole, the online tax deed sales program is at onlinetaxdeeds.com, I believe. Onlinetaxdeeds.com. All right, Rona. Hi, Rona. I am curious, what if you just want to make money from liens? What are the best states to do that in? I don't necessarily want property at the moment. Any of the tax lien states, you're not going to get the property. Less than 1% of liens sold at the tax sale don't redeem. Okay. And guess what? If you're worried about it and it gets close to the redemption, you can always sell your lien to another investor. So, lien, some of the good states would be for that. And as long as you do your due diligence, because of course, if you don't do your due diligence and you get liens on really shitty properties, excuse the French, they might not redeem. So you still want to do your due diligence. But all the tax lien states, I would say, especially the ones where property is more expensive, like Arizona, that's going on now, New Jersey, Florida, Colorado is another lien state. Really, all the lien states that have online sales are good, and the redeemable deed states. Although the redeemable deed states, you do have more of a chance of getting the property because the price of the lien is bid up. But especially the lien states, I would say, where the interest rate is bid down, those are the ones where you're less likely to get the property. And when I say less likely, it's like not much less likely, because you're not likely to get them anyway if you bid on good properties. Okay. All right. So Nicole has put the link for the online tax deed course in there for you in the comments. Okay, so that will help with the online tax deeds, Kathy Ann. And I really recommend look into the membership because I really recommend that. If you're there is a course in there called Tax Lien Investing Basics. And I recommend everybody start there because it really goes over the basics of tax lien investing, which states sell liens, which states sell deeds, which states sell redeemable deeds, how to find out about the tax sales. We did just switch over to using tax sale finders for that instead of tax sale resources. Tax sale resources is the company that does tax sale finders, so it's the same company, just we get more functionality out of tax sale finders. We actually can see more information on the properties, get more value out of that. So I switched all the members over, the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator members over to tax sale finders instead of tax sale resources. And Nicole is asking, would I recommend buying in other states? So, well, that depends. Where, first of all, let me know, Nicole, where in Pennsylvania are you? And you're interested in owning property. I'm assuming that you're interested because you're asking about deeds. So that means you're interested in owning property. And Pennsylvania is a good state for that, but it just depends on where in Pennsylvania. If you're close to the city, close to Philadelphia, close to New York, like I am, I'm close to about an hour and a half away from New York City. So I'm close to New Jersey. Property values are up and people commute from New York. So it's not the best place to get property at the tax sale, but you still can. But when you go to the western side of the state, you could pick up property cheaper at the tax sale. Okay, in either Alabama or Florida, you're in Georgia. Oh, Nicole's in Georgia. I'm sorry, Nicole, I was getting you mixed up with somebody that said they were in PA. Okay, I don't like Alabama. I like Florida better, even though things get bid down at the tax sale to 0.25% for liens. There are deed sales in Florida, and there are a lot of online deed sales in Florida. And that course, the online deed sale course, covers Florida, the Florida deed sales. Alabama, I'm not crazy about Alabama. I think Florida is better, but it depends on, are you interested in deeds or liens? Actually, there's a lot of online deed sales in Florida. Some of them are very competitive. Some of the counties don't have a lot of available each, but that's because they do them all the time, right? Not just once a year, they do them all the time. The lien sales are only once a year, and they get bid down to 0.25% for good properties. But here's the thing, if it's held for the 2 years, first of all, there's a minimum 5% penalty, okay? And then, which you'll get instead of what you bid. If the lien redeems and the amount that you're going to get, the amount of interest you're going to get is under 5%, then you'll get the 5% penalty instead, and it's a straight penalty. So that's decent, right? But if it goes the 2 years and it doesn't redeem, then you get to apply for it to go to into a deed sale, and you have to pay all the outstanding taxes when you do that. And at that point, everything rolls up at 18%. You start getting 18% on everything from then until it gets sold in the deed sale, or until you get it. You can also get the property if it doesn't get sold in the deed sale. But you're likely, see, Florida's a good state to invest in liens if you don't want to get the property, because it's got to, you don't get to foreclose on it like you do in other states. It has to go into a deed sale. Oh, okay. So you want me to explain that? All right. You really need, Nicole, you really need the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator, all because you need my introductory course, Tax Lien Investing Basics. You need that course. Okay. But just really quickly, the difference between a lien and a deed is when you go to a tax lien sale, you're not buying the property. You don't have any interest in that property. Ownership. You don't have any ownership in the property. You don't have anything to say about that property except you have a lien on the property. You basically pay somebody else's taxes and put a lien on the property. Okay. And the reason you would want to do that is because you're going to get whatever the county or town would normally get, which is a pretty high interest rate, and you're in first position. So it's a way to invest your money at a high return. Now, but in some states, that interest rate does get bid down. So it's not always at a high return, okay? But it is a way to invest your money with real property backing it up. It's not like when you have a stock and what happens if that company goes under and you own stock in that company. Well, you're not first in line to get paid. You're not going to get anything, right? You're just a shareholder. You only have a piece of paper. But with a tax lien certificate, sometimes you have a piece of paper, a tax lien certificate, but there's real property behind that tax lien certificate. That's where the value is. It's in the property, okay? So that's what a tax lien is. And why would somebody pay off their taxes and you get your money back plus interest? Because if they don't, in a certain amount of time, you get to foreclose on the property. You'll actually get the property, okay? That doesn't happen very often with liens. With liens, you're normally going to get the return on your money. In most states, more than 99% of the time, you're going to get the return on your money. But when you buy a deed, you are actually buying the property. Some states, Pennsylvania, they don't mess around. You don't pay your taxes. They're not going to sell a lien on your property. They are going to sell your property in the sale. That is a tax deed. You're actually buying the property in the sale. When you go to these tax deed sales, the bidding might start at back taxes. Sometimes it starts at a certain value, at maybe half of the assessed value or maybe the entire assessed value. It depends on the state. But in a lot of states that sell deeds, they will sell it for what back taxes and penalties that are owed. That's where the bidding starts, but then it gets bid up from there. Okay. So do you understand the difference, Nicole? And you need a lot more money for deeds than you do for liens. Why is that? Because when you go to, let's say the back taxes are $5,000. And you go to the tax sale, and in some states that could be a lot of money, $5,000 for back taxes. In other states, it could be typical. In New Jersey, that's cheap, right? The $10,000 could be a normal tax bill on a 3-bedroom, 2-bath property in a lot of places in New Jersey, right? But and even here in Pennsylvania, $5,000 is normal, right? But in some states, Florida, Arizona, $5,000 is a lot. Their taxes are usually not that high. So it might be $500 in states like that. But when you go buy the lien on that property, you're not buying the taxes. You don't have and if you're going to one of these tax lien sales where the interest rate gets bid down, you still only have to pay that. Let's say if it's $500, the lien is, you still only have to pay that $500. Or if it was $5,000, you still only have to pay that lien amount. Sometimes you might have to pay a little bit more, like in these online sales. Sometimes there's another $10 fee per lien or something like that. But In a tax deed sale, you're actually bidding up the price of the property. It might start at $500 or $5,000, but it's going to get bid up from there. And in these competitive bidding situations, it's going to get bid up quite high, close to the value of the property. It depends on what market values are and what investors are willing to pay. I mean, you have real estate investors that go to these sales. And so you might need $50,000 in some of these states. In Georgia, I'm sure you need that much because it's going to, even though it's a redeemable deed and it works a lot like a lien, they're still sort of selling the property in Georgia. You don't actually own it until you foreclose, until after the redemption period, but the price of the deed gets bid up at the deed sales and the redeemable deed sales. This might sound a little confusing to you now, and that's why you need that tax lien investing basics course. Okay, because I can spend a whole hour teaching on that, or I can spend a whole day teaching on that. But I'm not going to do that here. Okay. So Nicole, did that answer your question? Okay. It looks like it did. All right. All right, Enrique, is there additional holding time in Arizona if the homeowner is a disabled person? Oh, that depends. That depends. I'm not sure. Really, the redemption time is 1 year. And the redemption time wouldn't change. What would change is whether or not they could sell those taxes in a sale. I mean, not 1 year. In Arizona, it's 3 years. Redemption is 3 years in Arizona. So, but the 3 years is going to be the same. The 3-year redemption period will be the same. But there's certain instances where they're not supposed to sell your taxes in a sale. And the sale could be reversed if that's true. So in some instances, for instance, I know if the owner of the property is in the military and they're on military assignment or, away in a foreign war, something like that, they're not allowed to sell those taxes. But maybe they just didn't do the right paperwork because they're busy fighting a war or busy in another country. So maybe they just didn't do the paperwork, but they're not allowed to sell those taxes. Now, they could come back after the tax sale and say that it was in error. They could say the tax sale was in error, but they would have to prove it. It's something that they would have to prove. Now, I'm not sure if somebody is disabled, if that would be something that was sold in error. If they would, I'm not sure about that, and that's something I would check with. I would check the state statutes for Arizona, for the Arizona sales. And if you go to any of the online sales, they always, in the terms of the sale, they always have links to the state statutes. Also, Tax Sale Finders has links to the state statutes. They also have a couple of analyses, white papers on the Arizona process. So you'd have to look through the state statutes to see if they can actually sell the taxes if the owner is disabled. I'm not sure, but I don't think it makes a difference. I do know that things that do make a difference are if the property is owned by minors or incompetents. In a lot of states, that makes a difference. So in other words, not if they're physically disabled, but if they're mentally incompetent, if they're mentally disabled, then maybe the state or the county cannot sell their taxes, or you might not be able to foreclose. but it wouldn't have a bearing on the redemption period itself. So Enrique, did I answer your question? And I think that's something where you actually have to check with an attorney. I would actually check with the Arizona tax lien attorney to find that out, because even though it doesn't have a bearing on the redemption period, it might have a bearing on whether or not you can foreclose. Yeah, and I'm not an attorney, but off the top of my head, I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think being physically disabled would. It's being mentally disabled that would have an effect on it. Okay, you're welcome. All right, let's see. Any other questions? Is there anything I missed, Nicole, or any other questions? Okay, if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to end this Ask the Tax Lien Lady live. But I do have another Facebook Live in our private group. We have a private Facebook group that anybody can join. You just have to answer some questions. I just have to be sure that you're really interested in tax liens and that you're actually seriously considering investing. And you have to agree to our terms, which are, you're not there to sell anything, or you're not there to call me names or call anybody else names or say anything that's not nice. So, but it is it's called Investing for Success. And Nicole can put the link for that Facebook group for you. And you can answer those questions and ask to join. And we do a Facebook Live just in that group on the first and third Thursday of the month. So we'll be doing one this Thursday at 2 p.m., same time that we do this. Okay, and she put that link in there for you. So she just put that in, Philip. She just put that in the comments. By the way, back in January, we had an Investing for Success conference. It was an all-day conference that we did. It was January. I forget the exact date, but it was on a Wednesday in January. It was a really great conference, and we're going to do it again. But because it was in the middle of the week, I did get a couple of people that said, well, because in order to get the recording, you did have to pay for the recording, because that allowed me, number one, to make my expenses back for doing this, because I had to hire people to help me. I had to hire a tech person to help me with it. And so we did charge to get the recordings, but to come live, it was free to come live. And all the experts that did this with me, they gave away some really cool stuff. I had one expert that gave away a course, a $250 course. So, and some of these experts gave away free consultations with them. So it was really good. So we're going to do it again. But because I had some people say, well, I can't come live, and they were kind of upset because they wanted to come to the free training, but they couldn't because it was in the middle of the week and they work. So this time it's only going to be half a day, and it's going to be on a Saturday. So we have it scheduled for March 6th. I didn't even start advertising it yet, but I wanted you guys to know about it. So I should, by next week, we should have more information about that. This week, what you'll be hearing from me is information about the Indiana training that I'll be doing. And then next week, we'll have, actually, probably by the end of this week, we'll have the information on what we're going to do on March 6th. Okay, it's free to come live. We've got 5. This time they're all women, and I've got 2 women that are coming back. Not me. I'm just going to be doing the interviewing, but we have 5 experts on some really great stuff, including how to get grant money for your business, the infinite banking concept, how to be your own bank, and Dr. Carrie Skrdla is going to come back. She's the one who gave away that $250 course. She talked about God's economy. She's really awesome. She was a favorite. She's coming back. And Ray Perry is coming back. And then I have Lena Sells, who is part of the PIP group, and she's going to be interviewed for that. So we have 5 great women experts that to help investors make more money, save more money, and get more from their investments. So stay tuned for more about that at the end of the week. All right, yeah, Philip, Nicole did put that link in, and she just put it in again for you. It's in the comments. It's a link to the Facebook group, the Investing for Success Facebook group. So you should be able to see it. And if you can't see it, I don't know why. It's in the comments. And I can see it here on StreamYard because everything all the comments that come in Facebook come right to me on StreamYard. All right, guys, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your questions. Thank you guys for the likes. Awesome. And if there's no more questions, I'm going to end today's Facebook Live, and I'll see you maybe on Thursday in the Investing for Success group. We won't be here next week because next week is the last week of the month, and we're here for the first 3 weeks of the month because my assistants and I like to take the last week of the month off of doing these Facebook Lives. But tomorrow is our member coaching call. So if anybody is interested in joining the membership, Nicole has also put a link in there for you to find out more about that. That's at taxlienlady.com/membership. So I'll see you guys around. Thanks for being here. And, bring your questions. In 2 weeks, we'll be back here at 2 o'clock. Bye.